Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another MCU rewatch review. Today we're tackling Thor 3, aka Thor Ragnarok. Now this came out in 2017, again, just like a few other MCU movies that we've been watching. And again, you know, for the most part, the MCU up until this point, from Iron Man 1 to now, has been pretty much solid experiences, right? Really good films. And I'll be honest, I do like this movie. Upon rewatch, I really like it. However, when this came out, when this movie originally released, I didn't have my glasses, so I was basically effing blind, but still, I had some issues with this film. But anyway, make sure to, if you enjoyed this review, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. It's free, it takes a second, helps me out a ton. Anyway, Thor Ragnarok. So this, my issue with the movie is that the, you know, when it released, there was a lot of people online, and I guess the zeitgeist of MCU Marvel fans were kind of collectively, not me, but collectively spewing that Thor is too boring. Thor is boring and very boring. That's the word they love to say, the word boring. They hated it. They're like, oh, Thor just doesn't do nothing. He's just stoic, and he's just, I'm Thor, thunder. Like that's all he would do. And it's like, okay, he's kind of stale. We gotta kind of liven him up a bit. You know, everyone else is making jokes, and he's just kind of bleh. But to me, if you watch Thor 1, Thor 2, Avengers 1, Avengers 2, I think I got all that. He is not stupid, but he is funny. Like, he does make jokes. He is a lighthearted person, right? And we you know, when we first see him in Thor 1, he is more stoic and boring and all that, but that's his character, right? And then he goes to Midgard or Earth, and he kind of has these different scenarios and these experiences, and that kind of helps him to be a little bit more jovial and more human-like. And then this film came out, and my biggest issue is that, again, Taika Waititi is I don't think a very good director. I think he did a good job with this movie, but this film is kind of like his one-hit wonder. We'll get to it when we talk about Thor: Love and Thunder. And there's a reason why Thor 5 is happening, and they don't want him. They might want Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, Godzilla, that type of thing. So we'll have to see. But my biggest issue, again, was that they just made Thor really dumb and goofy. And yeah, the comedy works, okay? This is a very funny movie, and the comedy works, and it is funny, and I laughed, okay? So I'm not saying it's not funny. Thor is fun. Like, I don't want to say objectively funny, but he's pretty freaking funny, okay? The whole movie is funny, but it comes so crazy far out of left field, where Thor is just, you know, he'll make the occasional joke, or, you know, he'll make the occasional banter, or whatever, not banter, and then, you know, all of a sudden in this movie he's like, oh my god, I'm wondering why you got me here, and he's screaming, and he's throwing a bowling ball, and he's just getting hit all the time, and he's just, again, it's funny, but it just seems like a complete tonal character switch. There is literally zero explanation in this movie why he is so different to Thor in Thor 1 and 2, apart from out of canon, right? In real life, Chris Hemsworth and some of the other Marvel execs were like, oh, Thor is boring. We got to change him up. He's not really funny. He's not really... And look, the MCU doesn't have to be funny all the time. I think they kind of need to get that down their throat. Not every Marvel thing needs to have a guy that's funny, or a person that's funny, or a girl, or whatever that's an alien that's funny. You know what I mean? It's okay to have jokes in a movie, okay? Because, again, that's what makes the MCU characters human. No one is strictly serious all the time, but no one is also straight up funny all the time. And I think this film, more than Love and Thunder, they do, you know, luckily Taika Waititi, he does make, you know, he does strike that balance. But a lot of the time, I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, it's like it is funny. I'm laughing. It's funny. But why? Like, what's the freaking point? What's the reason? You know what I mean? There is no canonical reason, at least at this, there is a reason in Love and Thunder, and that's why I don't hate the movie now. But again, when it released, I was like, why is he funny? Like, it's funny, like, I like it, but why? Like, it just felt to me like they were like, ashamed of Thor. They were scared, and they're like, oh, well, no one's liking Thor. What do we do? What do we do? Make it funny! Just like everyone else, and then, you know, like, all of a sudden it was kaboom. It was kaboom time. And like I said, I don't have a problem with it now that much. There are a few jokes that don't land. You know, there are specific scenes where there's like long pauses where the audience is suspected to laugh for seconds at a time, and either I don't laugh or I go, let me do that again. I do a little exhale. I go like that, not like that. But, you know, I don't sit there and go, I don't die. But, you know, when Thor throws the bowling ball and hits him in the face, and he's like, and he's like, thunder. You know, it's just like, okay, I guess it's kind of fun. I guess, you know what I mean? Banner jumps out of the freaking Quinjet or whatever, just smacks the Rainbow Bridge. I mean, it's funny, but I wasn't like, you know, I was just like, you know what I mean, like that. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? Most of it is funny. I like Thor. Again, I think that, you know, he gets a cool haircut, and that kind of suits the comics. He gets a cool helmet thing. Of course, being called Ragnarok, you see Surtur, and as soon as the movie began, I was like, wait a minute, is that Clancy Brown? I was listening, and I'm like, that sounds just like I am Lex Luthor, and I am your destructor of Asgard. And I was like, oh my god, it's Clancy Brown. This is the Lex Luthor voice I do. It's just that. You know, it's funny. And Surtur is basically trying to lay waste to Asgard, right? And then, of course, we get Hela, the goddess of death, Odin's first child, and played, you know, great by Cate Blanchett. I think she does a great job. I feel it's weird saying she's hot because she's really old, but she's not ugly. I'll just leave it at that. So I don't look like a weird guy that likes old grandmas. I'm just saying. She's not ugly. But at the same time, you know, she does give a good performance as Hela, the goddess of death, as I said. And she does a nice job with what she's given. You know, there are a few things where I'm like, okay, you know, maybe you could have been a little better with your backstory, because it's really just, you know, my dad, he gone soft, so I gotta show my dad and you and everyone what true power is like. And I mean, it's not the best backstory ever, but, you know, we don't need that. I think she's a badass-looking villain. She's got a really cool suit, like armor and all that, clothing. The you know, skeletons that she kind of reanimates back to life are, like, green and shit. Like, that looks really cool. And then she's, like, chucking swords and stuff. I mean, she's got these big effing swords. It's like an Elden Ring sword, you know what I mean? Just blowing up helicarriers or helicopter or whatever in the sky, you know, in Asgard. And she's a cool villain, so I like her. I like her addition. I think she's kind of cool. Of course, you know, she does break Mjolnir, which is crazy as well. And then we get, of course, Doctor Strange making a cameo. If you saw the end credit scene of Doctor Strange 1, you see that, you know, they kind of repeat that scene, which is kind of weird, but whatever. And then you get the, you know, inclusion of Loki, of course, who we thought was dead. Of course, he's not. He was, you know, trying to F everything up as he does. And he kind of succeeded a bit, but I think Loki is good in this. I think he suits comedy better than Thor. I think every joke Loki did was pretty good. He's that kind of person. Like, that's his whole thing. Like, he's a murderer, but he's also funny and sly and witty and, you know, that kind of thing. So I think he did a good job with the movie. I like him. I like Hela. I like Thor for the most part. Again, some of the jokes don't land. Again, a lot of it does feel very, like, out of character, because he's making jokes almost constantly. Not as much as Love and Thunder, because Love and Thunder, we'll get to it, but that movie is basically 100% a comedy. Like, everything is funny, even the stuff that isn't funny is funny somehow, and it coincidentally isn't funny, but he wants it to be. This, I think they did a good job of making the action and the brutality. I mean, Hela literally goes on a murder spree and murders like thousands of Asgardian guards. That. And then you also get, you know, the scene where Thor is fighting Hela, and she literally, I think, slices his eye out. And, like, I know these aren't for children, these movies, you know, they're PG-13, but I was like, Jesus Christ, like, that's, like, you know, normally when someone gets their eye or, you know, a crazy, like, bloody wound, it's not shown very much. And in this, they're like, nah, fuck it, just show his eye, just show it, you know, it doesn't matter, screw it. It's just like the little bloody sprout in his eye, you know, when his eye moves, you see the other eye kind of move. It's pretty disgusting. But I don't know why. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm not like some baby or nothing. Like, it didn't gross me out. But I mean, it's crazy that they actually got away with that for that long. And again, there's just a whole lot of violence and action and death and all that. So it's not like it's not really a lighthearted thing a lot of the time. But I think, again, Taika really found that balance when he's not playing Korg to kind of, you know, pivot and make things really funny and also serious when they have to be, which is good. Which is something Love and Thunder really didn't do. At least at the last time I watched it. Again, Korg is good. I don't know why they decided to go woke in the last one and make Korg gay. I don't know. I mean, he's like, oh, everybody in my space chase is a male. I'm like, I guess you're forced to do that, which is even worse, I guess. But it's like, you have a mom. Like, you just said your mom in the movie. Like, he mentions a mom. So, you know, oh, well, actually, it's his mom isn't a Cronin? It's like this. It's like, maybe if that's the canon reason, I'll let it slide, I guess. But it just feels like Taika kind of succumbed to the woke masses for the last one. Because Valkyrie, again, she's clearly into dudes in this one. Not in the next one, I don't know. I mean, look, gotta pander. But as far as the writing for this movie, where it's not really stupid funny and just like, oh, we gotta make everything a joke, I do like Valkyrie in this movie, though. I think she has a good introduction. Her name isn't Valkyrie, that's her role. I don't really know her name. I don't know if her name is ever spoken. But, her role as a Valkyrie, or, used to be before stuff went sideways, is good. You know what I mean? I think she's funny. She does a good job in the film. There's a lot of really good action scenes where she's kind of being a badass and she's doing cool stuff. So I like that. I like the Valkyrie character. Again, Hela's a good villain. I like Hulk in this. Again, Bruce Banner, I don't know what it was. Mark Ruffalo in this movie is, I don't want to say he's a bad actor, but there's a lot of moments where he's just kind of like, I don't understand what's going on here. What's going on? Hey, how do I get out of here? I can't do that, because then I'll turn to the Hulk again. And I'm like, really? They got Edward Norton out for you? Like, he's not horrible, but I'm like, there's some takes where I'm like, that could have been done a little better, like his delivery. But other than that, though, I think it is interesting the Hulk character that we're actually hearing Hulk talk. He talked in Avengers 1. I guess he always could talk. I guess he just decided to talk more in this movie. I don't know if there's a canon reason why he's talking more. Maybe it's because he was Hulk for a long period of time. I'm assuming that's the reason. But Hulk is obviously, he's Hulk. He's freaking awesome, and he's beating the crap out of everyone, including Thor. I love that Coliseum fight with the Grandmaster and all that. Jeff Goldblum's character. I think that's a really good fight scene. There are some really funny moments where Hulk is basically like a big green baby. He's like he gets mad. He's like like that. He does like a little pouty fit. I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was pretty funny. But there's a lot of moments too where he's just kind of acting like a big baby, and I think that's kind of interesting. He obviously hears Natasha's voice and he freaks out and turns back into Bruce. But when he's in Hulk form, he's kind of, like I said, he's just a big green infant basically. And I think that's kind of, I know that's not actually Hulk's character. I get it. Hulk, when a lot of the movies in the MCU portray Hulk, when he is Hulk as this mindless killing machine beast that doesn't really know what the hell he's doing, he kind of hurts people more than he helps them. I guess he's kind of figuring his stuff out more now. But again, it's a different. It's hard to kind of do something different with the character without breaking continuity. And, well, why is he talking now? Why is he acting like a big baby? Why is he not murdering everyone inside? Why is he not murdering Valkyrie? He's clearly like talking to her. Again, I attune it to just him, being Hulk for a long period of time. Yeah, that's my reason. But I think one of the strongest aspects beside the comedy is the action. The action scenes in this movie are freaking phenomenal. I think that, Taika, maybe not as well as James Gunn, but he does use some good music, and I don't really like that song. That was shit. Don't know. Okay, you know the song, but I'm not singing that. There are, there's some uses of that song at the beginning and the end which work. I'm not a big fan of the song, I guess, but it works in the movie. But yeah, man, the action scenes with Surtur, the stuff on Asgard, the stuff with Thor versus Hulk, stuff with Thor versus Hela. Again, Loki gets time to shine when he's fighting on the bridge. So does Valkyrie. I think the action in this movie overall is incredibly well made. Easily, from what I remember from Love and Thunder, easily the best out of the four Thor movies, in terms of action, at least in the choreography and the cinematography and all that. It looks really freaking great. Again, you do get Heimdall in a bigger role than we've seen him. He had a big role in the other movies, but in this one, he's not just like standing there like with a sword and that's it. Yeah, I guess in the Dark World he kind of attacked that Malekith ship or whatever with like the two daggers. But in this he actually gets a bigger role, and that's actually a really cool thing because we get to see him kind of foster a relationship not only with Thor more and Valkyrie, I suppose, but also the citizens of Asgard, as he's kind of I guess hiding this civilians from Hela and Scourge, the Executioner, and all of his undead minions. And I thought that was cool. Like, what else do you do with Heimdall besides he puts the sword in the hole? That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. When he's not doing that, what else does he have to do? Like, okay, he has yellow eyes and he does magic shit. Like, okay, what else? And thankfully, they actually gave him a what else. They actually had him do something, which is really cool. Again, he slices up some skeletons with his broadsword or whatever, like it's a little badass, and that's cool. But I really did enjoy the action, like I said, with him and the involvement with him. So overall, look, I've come to terms with this movie. Now that we know, basically, I'll spoil it, the reason why Thor acts goofy in this movie is because before him and Jane broke up, they spent a lot of time together as a couple would, not that I would know, but also at the same time, you have, Thor, like I said, he's hanging out with Jane, so he's able to kind of see how these humans interact, and just on Asgard, they do that, but it's more like, Norse gods type thing. This is Thor with humans, human emotion, human feelings, and, human that comes with sadness and grief and whatever, but also funny moments and comedy, right? People are funny. And I think that it's really interesting that that's how Thor changed, and he kind of got to hang out with Jane and kind of pick up on the way of the Midgard, so to speak. And I think that's kind of a cool detail. I wish they would have effing told me that in this movie and not wait till Love and Thunder, but still. I think it's a good addition. Knowing that now, again, that's why I'm not as harsh on this movie. I would have rated this movie a hell of a lot lower if there was no explanation. He's just goofy now. To me, that's bad writing. That is executives panicking, saying, "Oh my God, people don't like Thor. What do we do?" And then they're like, "Just make it funny." You know what I mean? And it is fun. Like I said at the beginning, it is funny. Don't get me wrong. I laughed, but there's some moments where I'm like, okay, this kind of feels a little bit out of character. You know what I mean? Like he feels too funny at times. And I guess that can still ring true to this review. He can feel too jokey, too goofy, too silly. And while it is funny, it doesn't fit with what he did in the past. I get it. He made jokes before, but in this, he's almost like drunk sometimes. Like he's just like making too many jokes. He's quipping too much. And again, thankfully, there are breaks and pivots where there are more serious scenes with him and Loki and all that. So I like that. And again, I like the new characters. I like the villain. I like the atmosphere. I love the editing. I love the aesthetic of the movie. So really, like I said, not a whole lot to complain about here. My only issues is some of the comedy didn't necessarily work on all fronts. And I guess the CGI is great. I really think it looks really good too. There aren't that many CGI issues that I had a problem with as compared to, again, we'll get to Love and Thunder, but like I said, I really did enjoy this movie upon rewatch. I forgot a lot of it, actually. I was like, oh, that action scene, I forgot about that action scene. Oh, I forgot about this scene, or I forgot about that joke. I like Get Help. I think that's a funny joke where he just kind of chucks Loki at people. So there are jokes that work, and there's really funny moments in this. Easily the funniest Thor movie. Easily the best Thor movie out of the four, period. Again, I really like Thor 1, and I really like Thor The Dark World. I think it's a really great, but I don't know why people hate it. I think it's a really good movie. This, though, is better. Again, I think they hit the atmosphere right. I think with Love and Thunder, they went too far into the jokes, where everything is funny, even stuff that shouldn't be funny, like I said. But in this one, I think they found a pretty good balance overall. So tell me in the comments down below what you think about Thor Ragnarok. And out of the 4 Thor movies, what's your favorite? And are you excited that for Thor 5, which is filming, I believe, either this fall or next fall, I think, they're going to be going for a more dark, and not dark, but less comedic route, which I think is a good thing. I think it's good to have that balance of serious and funny, not just completely funny. Again, maybe I'll change my mind when I rewatch Love and Thunder, but right now, as it speaks, that's my least favorite, and this one, Thor Ragnarok, is my favorite out of the 4. But tell me down below what you think about this. Again, the next one that we're going to be covering in the MCU rewatch is Black Panther 1. Can't wait to rewatch that. All I remember is that there's rap music, because of course there is, and of course the really bad CGI fight scene at the end looks like a PS2 cutscene. We'll get to it. I'm excited to cover Black Panther. I do like that character. It really sucks that Chadwick Boseman passed away. Of course, that does suck, and I really don't like that. But again, I don't remember a whole lot about Black Panther. I remember some cool truck chase and all that, so I'm excited to rewatch that one. So look forward to that review. Anyway, tell me down below what you think about Thor Ragnarok and the Thor movies. Again, what's your least favorite and what's your favorite? Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.